Just a reminder, today's conference is being recorded.
Yes, hello everybody to this new session of the XStepCafe. And today I've prepared two things which I wanted to share with you. And first of all, I'd like to jump into a small topic where I got an email about alternative units of measure and in context of active ingredient handling, for example. And the question was how to get the alternative unit or quantity, and how to get the stock keeping unit. And it was about a classic process instruction-based VI sheet, and there I had to tell that there you can only create a characteristic and use the user exit method to do this. But that's also one example of how XSteps help you in that way, because we have specific symbols which are just there in the standard, and I'd just wanted to show this as an example. All right, so let's share my screen, and you should see now my ERP screen. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes?
Correct.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so just briefly show you what my little example XStep is looking like. It's very basic one. It's derived from one of our library with the material consumption messages. And what I do here is simply I have a generation for all ingredients here, and in the let's just set this to change. In the parameters, you will find a lot of parameters, but the most important ones are these here. So two characteristics for the quantity, one for alternative unit and one for the normal unit, and also two unit of measures here. And in valuation, that's where the important stuff is happening. You have the possibility to get the requirement quantity or the reserved quantity, or in this case the requirement quantity in alternative unit. Just show you here where you find these. It's in the materials section, and and you see it's not only there for requirement quantity, but also for total quantity, open quantity, scrap quantity. All the quantities are there available also for the alternative unit, and of course the unit of measure is also there, which I set here. So here these two, you see that unit of measures in different flavors. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. So this is not a big deal. I just wanted to show it. And next thing I just wanted to show is here an example. That's I think might also be in the IDAS data. It's the famous fruit juice example, where we have materials like processed fruit and lemon juice and water, and the unit for these, unfortunately, that's not very speaking here. It's, I think, just fruit, pure fruit and pure lemon juice without the water. And of course, the real juice has a certain concentration, which is then in the characteristics. And I've got the XStep here as it's the only XStep which I just showed you here, and I'll just do the generation for test in my case. By the way, what I forgot to mention is I did not make a real batch determination here because it didn't work here, so I just put the batches here right away. Okay, and here are the generation scopes, the generated X steps, and you see here, for example, that's the fruit juice, I think. There you see the requirement quantity is the 35, and that's the liters. So you see unit of measure here, that's liter, the normal one. So this is what you're supposed to fill in liters, and that's the active ingredient quantity. So that's basically it. I can just show you the simulation. Hopefully this works like that here. Just to compile. As this is compiling, any questions, remarks on this?
No.
Okay. Maybe I'll try this with the existing ones. That's the issue when you work with test systems, and of course development is going in there. Okay, I think I'll just take the last one here, and it's also compiling. Right. So, any other comments or questions? Maybe I just point out what I want to show you after this, which will be a little bit longer session. Since I'm now working in a different topic here, which is called plant connectivity. I posted a question on the blog whether I should cover that topic also in this blog and cafe sessions, and result was 80% of the people out of 15 responses said yes, please do that in this session, and 20% said yes, but do it in a different blog. So I think that's a pretty clear statement. So I'll just do it here. And I just wanted to give you an overview what plant connectivity is, and I'll do a presentation and a little demo I have prepared. Okay, so this is probably compiling forever.
Just one hint, because I used to have, this is Peter speaking, I used to have OSS call for my famous F1 help in XSteps. It did not work for, I had this OSS call for 3 months, and finally yesterday it got resolved. There is an OSS node, it's 1513429, where they fixed some coding, because whenever I had a field with a self-developed F1 screen, or this, not F1, F4 user help, it did not work with XSteps. It worked for some specific, but it did not work for self-defined. And they had a development, and finally it's working with this OSS node.
What was the node again?
1513429.
Okay, I'll put it in the show notes. Okay.
Yeah, because I think it was a very useful function in our old PI sheets, because whenever you were trying to select a batch, or to select a date, or to select anything from our own table, it was very easy to do that. But in XSteps, somehow I was debugging the style sheet and everything, but I could not find the difference, and it was some coding in background.
Okay, good to hear that our support did manage to solve your problem. By the way, yesterday I attended a training course in Waldorf, and I do that every time when this course happens, and if I have time, just show up on the second day just to answer specific questions that the trainer is not able to answer. It was pretty nice discussion. A lot of people there, so it was fully booked that session, and also several people from discrete industries. So was really nice. Okay, so I think I'll just skip this here and continue with the rest. I'll have this presentation here, which I'll just bring up and start. Okay. So plant connectivity is now general available. So that's also the real very new version here, Pico 2.1, which I'm talking about. And this is an overview of our plant or device connectivity support inside SAP solutions. And you see also to the very right, so as a sort of connection to what we did so far here, the SAP ODA as the connection directly to the PI sheet to devices with OPC. And now the SAP Plant Connectivity is a small middleware built on .NET. So it's very, very lightweight tool that you install very close to the data sources, if not on the server of your data source itself. And Pico, which I use as a short term here, has now connectivity layers to MRI, to SAP ME, and to the EWM, the Enhanced Warehouse Management System. And of course, then those systems can then interact with ERP and bring this data further on. This is plant connectivity in a little bit more detail. So it consists of so-called agents, and each agent is a dynamic link library which is relevant for the appropriate source system. For example, we have agents for OPC DA, alarms and events, unified architecture, but also agents like OCPI, which is a semi-standard, I would say. So it's proprietary, but many customers use it. And we also offer an SDK, which allows partners, especially, to create their own agent for a specific data source, which we do not offer or intend to create. And then you can create one or more agent instances. These are running services in the background of the machine that listen to the sources and can act for supporting queries from the overlaying systems like MRI or ME, or they support notification scenarios, which I will explain in a second. So what are the different processes that are supported with Pico? The first is the query process. So that's a bidirectional process, which is usually triggered by a system like, for example, MRI. You have a tag query. You want to look up certain values, or you want to write certain values, and then you can call that query. It is transferred to the agent there, and the agent is then getting the data from the source system and returning the data back. Of course, all the functions here in MRI are then possible to evaluate the data, to calculate the data, or to display the data. And the second, by the way, this query process is new to this version, Pico 2.1. Before Pico 2.0 could only support this notification process. And what that means is you set up in multiple or one or more notifications, which have a trigger. I will explain that in more detail in the next slide. And then the notification is then sent to a target system once the trigger is met, and then a transaction is called, which does whatever bookings alerts in, for example, MI or SAP ME. Notification in detail. You have a certain source system, and you select certain tags there, and you subscribe to those tags in the agent instance. Then you've got a trigger. This can be just value change or a formula or any other event. And once this trigger is true, a predefined message, which you have defined before, so certain tags are put into this message as an XML preformat, and then all the real values are then put into this message and sent to, well, most of the time one target, but you can also set up multiple targets here. And you can set up multiple notifications per agent instance here. Architecture options are, as I already pointed out a little bit, is you can put Pico on the same machine as a data source, for example, for higher performance if you want, ruling out network issues. You can also use Pico in a network environment using DCOM or using OPC UA, which is also possible to use data sources over in the network. You could even use multiple agent instances per data source here, just also to level out performance maybe. Okay, so this is a summary of the functions. What I did miss so far is we have also fail-safe measures here. You can buffer and repeat certain messages in the notification scenario to make sure that they are really sent to the destination if the destination is sort of not responding for a moment. And you can also manage all your different Pico installations and on one MMC-based remote monitoring console from Microsoft to monitor all these different Pico systems. So that's an overview of all our agents and functions. So these are the different agents. We've got OPC, DA, AE, UA, HDA, GFNUC Prophecy Historian, OSI Soft Pi, and an OLEDB client as well. And that's solely for EWM here. It's possible to have a direct integration with SAP ME with an add-on that you can download. There's a software development kit and the queries I just pointed out here in 2.1. Okay, so that's the presentation so far. Any questions on this presentation? Any feedback?
Actually, I need a specific example for this.
Yes,
I have no idea.
and that's what I will show you just right after this.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Anna, I have a question. Can you go on the second slide, please? Mm-hmm. That's the one with the overview.
That one?
This one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but is it possible to let Pico run without ME or MRI or EWN directly between ERP and the device and control level?
Not at the moment. So it's an idea we are discussing internally. We are evaluating it, but with the current version, which is generally available, this is the only way you can do.
Because a lot of people are saying, okay, we already have a lot of device and control levels and tools, and they do not want to input a new level like MII or MEUW.
Alexandra, I know this. I know all these arguments, of course, and that's why we are looking into that. Cool. But since the rule here of the XStepCafe is also, since that is sort of my private show, I cannot even talk about ramp-up products here because
I don't want that. So is it
yeah,
okay? That's enough for me to know that this is discussed right now.
So all I can discuss here is really general available functionality.
Okay.
Nothing else. So that's why I have to be a little bit vague here. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
Any other question? Okay. Then let's jump into. By the way, that's it's not very good visible, so that's was what I wanted to show here. Anyway, let's log off here, and first of all, I need to go into that remote session. Maybe I do it this way. I'll first show you the demo, and then afterwards I show what's sort of under the hood, how this all works. So this is a demo where I simulate a conveyor belt here, which has a detector which senses first pieces and also whether the piece is good or bad. It also has some light here which indicate the status of this resource. Also a counter here. I have this is, by the way, this is an MRI screen, so in case you wonder here, which I specifically built for this demo. I've got some setup, so just for the demo purpose, I have set up a specific order which is currently running, and all this data here, the setup data has been written to an OPC server. So I'm using a Matricon simulation server with certain tags that are set up writable for this demo, and one set of tags are solely for this setup stuff and also for sort of data that is coming from a system like ERP, in this case an order number of a production order, and also an equipment number, and that's the equipment, this equipment here, which I will use for the integration part. And this is also already done with Pico query functionality. So whenever I change something, like for example change the name here of the equipment and save the settings, this is already done with Pico. Write a query or execute a query in MRI that is calling a Pico agent and then writes the data there. Okay, the next thing I'll have to do probably is also to show you the system here. And probably first this notification screen for the PM scenario. Just first of all complete all these notifications so that we are on a fresh status. Create another session here and show you this order here. No, not this one. This one. Okay, so this is sort of a running order already. So something has been delivered here as already. We've got a certain number of operations here, and the demo I'm talking about is the last operation, inspection and delivery. You see 13 yield and 4 scrap confirmed. And I stay here a little bit in this change mode so that you will see what happens in the background there better. And see there are no notifications available now anymore. Okay, so now that I've set up all this, I'll start this stuff. So start the machine, and you see I'm producing iPads here, and you see the light has turned to green here, and I can also here in this little section execute a query that gets the data from the OPC server. So you can, when I say update list, you see here the stack lights here is green, the count to good is 2, and now another piece is coming. I update the list, and count to good is 3. I've triggered a scrap piece. You see this is a scrap piece, and now this is scrapped here. I can stop this machine, and you see here stack light is yellow. So that's what I can do here. So this is real OPC data that I'm accessing here from via MRI over via Pico. I have set up a set of several notifications in Pico, which I just explained in my presentation. And one of those notifications has a trigger that says, okay, whenever the machine is stopped, then the number of yield or scrap is not 0, then please create a confirmation. And when I'm updating this list, you see that now I see here an entry in my queue. So I'm in MRI. I've set up a queue, and this notification is set to a transaction in MRI that then writes this XML message to a queue, and then there is a mechanism that works on that queue and does the bookings with BAPIs to ERP. And here you see that's the content in a more readable form of the XML here. You see the order number, you see operation, you see yield 3, scrap 1. So that's what I just simulated with this graphical simulation, and the writing to the data tags, because I don't have a real system. That's my demo. And I can try to process the selected message, but it's not possible because I have an error on the page. That's odd. Should be an error message. Well, but anyhow, it's not possible because I'm here in change mode, so I have to of course go to display mode and try this again. Process this here. Update the list. Okay, and go back to the order here. Now you see the delivered quantity has been, before it was 13, now it's 16, and on the scrap side here on the operation I see the 5. So that's the end-to-end process of this notification scenario, which I wanted to show. And furthermore, I wanted to show you the other stuff, that is the PM scenario. So you see I have no objects here yet. I'm going back here. I simulate a breakdown, which means the laser here is broken like this. This is probably too fast, so it's already processed here. But what we will see in an ERP, when I'm executing this again, I see directly, I'll jump directly into this notification. Malfunction red light on this equipment here, on that date and time here. I can repair it again and do it again maybe. So let's see. Now I have F2 here in this list. So this is my little maintenance, plant maintenance scenario I'll do here. Okay, so that's what a demo looks like. I also have, there's also a part in this demo for ME integration, but I'm not an expert in ME, so somebody else must show this demo. Maybe I'll invite somebody for that demo in a future episode here. But maybe that's enough for now. And now I wanted to show you what is really happening here. And I'll go to this remote session here. I'll first show you the Matricon. Okay, I have to open this one here. You see the demo setup tags I'm using here. You see that's the order number. Currently I have, and that's the check station. And here, this is the real data here that I'm working on. You see this tag lights is now yellow, and for example, if I'm doing that again, that's that breakdown here, and then you see red, yellow. So that it has changed something, and you see error text, laser failure here. All this is written via Pico with the query functionality. Okay, so that's one thing. And the other thing is, and that's the most important thing, of course, is the Pico setup management console, and maybe also the services here. So what you see here is first of all a service that is started. That's the management host, which manages all the query functionalities and several other stuff. And then you have a certain number of agent instances that are running, and the name here, for example, this one, demo connectivity, is the one which is also started, and that's what you also see here in this plant connectivity management console. This green light here indicates that this agent instance has been started. But let's start from the beginning. This section here are my source systems, so the data sources, and I have only one in my demo, which is the Matricon simulation server. Maybe I'll just stop this now for a moment to show you a little bit more details. So here, set refresh, and these are all the OPC servers that are here on my machine. I'm using here local OPC servers only, but you can enter here on a different machine if you want to use DCOM. Several settings here are available, so like update rate, how you access the source, if you use a cache or not. You can set aliases here if you don't want to publish all of your OPC tags to a system like MRI or other systems. You can create here certain aliases. Next thing I wanted to show is the setting for MRI for a destination system. This is a demo system where it's all on one server, so I've chosen here localhost to port the version of the MRI and some user credentials. That's all what I have here. So this is the basic setup of source systems and destination systems. And now what I have here is agent instances. So I can create multiple instances here, as you can see. And that one here has certain general settings here. For example, log level, whether or not to start the service automatically or manual, the log section, subscription items, and here I have all the items that are necessary for my notification scenarios. So, for example, counter bad, counter good, my stack lights, and whether or not the sensor has detected a part, which I'm used to trigger something as well sometimes. So these are all the necessary subscription items I'm using. Then these two tabs are for query. So that's the port which the MRI listens to. This is a certain setting here which manages whether or not you have your tagging information in a cache or not. And here you see several tabs for notification in case that the destination system does not accept a message. The message is here as put into this folder here in this tab for the retries, and in case something has failed. I've got a failure here already. That was some test I did, I think, before. And also expired messages, because you can also define that, and I will show this in a minute, that messages can also expire. Alright, okay, and now you see here, under this agent I've got a certain number of notifications, and the ones which I have used, which are active here, is the time ticket underscore sum, and also the PMQ notification. And maybe that's the more easy to explain. So what I did here, in the setup as well, I have, look here, you see PM active is set to true. So that's the little flag I've used in the setup section here to write this to true. So that's my first part of my logical expression I'm using here. So I only send a notification if I've in my little interface set that this PM demo is active. And this is the real one, so the real trigger, which says check station stack lights active red. So, and that's a Boolean active. That's of course here active red. So that means is the red light of the stack lights red? Is it active? And if true, then I get a notification. I can set certain conditions on true or while true, on false or while false, or always. So if I have really very discrete events that are happening, then I can set it to always. Then I will get a notification whenever I get a certain condition, certain event. So next thing I want to show is my output message, and this is how it looks like in a tabular view. So you see that I also give the transaction here, so that's more a little bit for the demo here. I return the equipment, also the message arrow text, and notification type, and a setting for breakdown. So that's also all needed for the BAPI I'm executing later on in MRI. I have certain reliability settings here, so I can set how many attempts I want to retry this, what is the interval between the retry attempts, and what do I have to, what about persistence of failed messages? Keep last, keep first, keep all, and how long these failed messages live. Okay, and then the last thing here is, of course, the most important stuff. It's the destination itself, and when I set up the MRI here correctly, when I click here, I see the whole tree of my workbench. So for those who are not familiar with MRI, in MRI you have a so-called workbench where you can create so-called projects, and this first level here is a project. And inside the project you can have a hierarchical tree where you can organize all your transactions and queries and all this stuff you can do in MRI. And here in my Pico query I've got a transaction which is called message add, and this message add has one input parameter which is called Pico input, as it's an XML parameter, has to be an XML parameter, and that's the interface that I set up to pass this message to. Just maybe a little impression how this would look like. I can test this notification delivery. I can view a sample here, like this. And see. I don't want this close. So you see it. The message has a certain header, like a GUID, an ID here, a date and time stamp, and then all my values, which are here in this case not filled because I don't have filled data right now, but this is the structure I'm using and which I also have used in my MRI transaction to decide, okay, where to find my data for my BAPI call. Okay, so that's it, and the other notification is a little bit more complex in terms of the trigger condition, but the rest is pretty straightforward as well. I'm using the same destination here, and in that destination I'm then later on decide, okay, which transaction is it really, and what do I have to do with it. Okay, so that's pretty much it as a first explanation and demo for plant connectivity. I could also show the MRI part a little bit more, but I fear that is maybe too much for today's session. So any questions on this? Was it too much?
So to understand it correctly, this PCO, plant connectivity part, is a communication level between the machines and your application, which is transporting information and triggering information, or
that's it. It's a small middleware between the data sources, and we have there are so many data sources, different data sources available, and so it's good to have a common framework available, like plant connectivity, which is extendable with this SDK, so you can really plug in your own data connectors to that plant connectivity layer, and then you have got one common interface to all these SAP systems that are the key consumers of this data.
And currently, directly with SAP ERP, you have this OPC ODA interface,
yes,
but nothing else.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
That's the current status.
Mm-hmm. And this MII is an additional product you can purchase?
Yes. That's the MII has been around for quite some time now, like I think 4 or 5 years already. I'm not sure about the correct date. It's a purchase of SAP of a company called Lighthammer. And so MRI is called manufacturing integration and intelligence. So you can do not only querying of data, but you can also create dashboards and business logic. You can create real applications there. It's not an application in itself; it's a toolbox, with which you can really easily create analytics and dashboards, and also with this easy possibility to consume BAPIs from ERP, for example. You can also use it as a simplifying method for multiple ERP transactions, if you want. Many times users are complaining if they need to go into this transaction and to that transaction in ERP, that they have to access all these different transactions, and they are very full because SAP tends to tag a lot of functionality in each transaction, and then you've got a lot of switches and entries and so. And you can hide this with, for example, MI to have a nice screen like the one you see here a little bit, to execute tasks also in ERP. In a way, the PI sheet, now to return to the original topic of these sessions, is also such a thing, but it's inside ERP. With the PI sheet, you can also have a user-friendly screen with really only those information, those tasks that the users really need to do. You can also carry out multiple things with process messages, confirmations, bookings, and all these things also in one screen. So that's also a similar part.
Yeah, but a big difference is I think the PI sheet is running on a centralized server, where this MII is a local server.
I forgot to mention, since this is not a presentation on MRI itself.
No.
Of course, MRI is meant to be a plant system. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was a little bit wondering, because it's always in the discussion with MES systems, which are from different companies, all running locally or in a plant environment. If you can apply the XStep or the PI sheet in MII.
Yes. On that, I can also tell you something. There has been a project going on last year, which was called MRI for batch manufacturing, and there's a template available in SDN with a project for MRI. Actually, the look and feel you see here in my demo is derived from that. So I've done all the user interface there and the design, we had several partners involved that contributed with their some of their assets. So they coded some things there, and one partner was Trabing and Himstedt. And they have contributed with so-called work instructions there, which offered the possibility to send a control recipe, a little bit like a PI sheet control recipe, to an external system, and then work on that externally and return process messages back. However, this is not a how shall I explain it? This is not a very generic implementation. So what does that mean? This implementation, first of all, uses process instruction-based control recipes. Secondly, it needs to it reads the name of or the type of the process instruction category, and then it knows, okay, this is this process instruction category. I know this, and I know where to find my data in here. And then it knows, okay, I have to put a certain block in my work instruction, in my offline work instruction there, and which with certain fields. So it's not a generic tool like the PI sheet itself is. So you just change something, you add an entry field, and hop, it is there. So that's what this is not. But it's we have several customers now, I think, with that, we're using that, and they're quite content with even that limited functionality. So they just set it up once, or let it set up from with a partner. So they say, okay, we need this instruction, that instruction, and they sort of create the mirrors of these instructions in MRI. So it's a one-to-one connection there.
I'm always wondering a little bit, because in instructions or in XSteps, you do have the possibility to check attributes of batches online. You know, if you enter something, you have immediately the checking routine in the background. And
of course, of course, if you do offline work of any kind with these work instructions or PI sheets, or you want to do this, then you have to make this trade-off. That you probably cannot do this, cannot check a batch status there in a timely fashion. By the way, we had for some time now also a functionality which is called decentral process coordination, where you also create control recipes in a central system, in a central ERP system, and then you have a decentral ERP system where you only have the PPPI part implemented. and you set up this decentral system so that it gets these control recipes and then displays these control recipes as a PI sheet. Of course, with all the real parsing. So not this is really an SAP solution, right? Native SAP solution, I would say. But also there, you have to struggle a little bit. It's possible to get some things like F4 helps with sort of remote function call enabled F4 helps or something like that. But it's always, of course, a matter. I mean, if you want to have an offline scenario, and you then still depend in a way on a remote function call to determine certain status, then you're not really offline.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's always a trade-off, and it's really maybe it's a dream to really have this, because it's really, if you look into all of the details, it's not that easy. Okay.
Because if I see these graphics you are just showing in MII, the only thing I'm missing in the XSteps or in the PI sheets is the graphical weigh and dispense. I know you have this demo where you have your, let's say, modified or your specific versions of this weigh and dispense, but this is what I really need.
Yeah, but if you remember my, it's session number 4 where I showed all this. I had this little applet. Actually, it was not an applet. It was just plain JavaScript in a separate window, which I've used for these kind of graphical stuff. So this is also really possible. Of course, the PI sheet follows certain rules. If you use the standard style sheet, you have to stick with that, and you cannot change it really. So you have the long text on the left side, you have short text on the right side, and all these things.
But you have the possibility to change the style sheet.
Yes.
Specific to your plant, and that's not a big problem.
Oh, yes and no. It can be a big problem if you maintain a lot of if you maintain a complex style sheet and which differs a lot from a standard style sheet. You really have to do it all on your own.
That's correct.
But yes, of course. Okay. Any other feedback from those other online? Okay. If this is not the case, then it's finished the hour now.
Do I find some documentation on this, let's say, project you have done with MII and Trebing and Himstead somewhere?
I think let me have a look. I think didn't I have a session here? I think I have it here online.
Okay.
Did you see it?
No.
I have these tags. Let's use them here. Here. Great system. Tagging is really great. Here you see. So that's where you have to look at, and it has some screenshot, and it should have also here the downloads and the press release. So you see here.
Okay. I can check.
The presentation I've shown right now, I intend to create another blog for the Pico stuff also on this blog. So just stay tuned there and check it out if you're interested.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Maybe for completeness, in MRI so far the query mechanism was handled by so-called UDS functions. These were separate little pieces, and now with the new version of Pico 2.1 we have integrated, or we want to replace these UDSs on midterm. So that's also an important thing to know. Okay, thanks for listening. And also, if you want those people who watch this recording, if you want to give me feedback on plant connectivity, since this is now my day-to-day job, I'd like to get some feedback on that also. Please send me an email or post something on the blog I will put here. And till next time, see you soon.
See you. Bye.
Bye.